away from Syndra. We are into champs like though. LGD on the left here for game one. They're our blue team. Snake over on the right there, our red team with Nunu actually. The first ban there. Rek'Sai will follow and Janna as well for LGD.
Yeah, so want to get Beast onto something that isn't that Nunu. TBQ wants to have some form of jungle left to farm, which Beast doesn't really leave. On the other side of the rift, it looks like Gnar being taken away from Acorn. Don't want to give a good champion that's nice and tanky over to Acorn because we know how much of a beast this guy can be in team fight.
Kassadin banned away there as well from both Baka and in particular Flandre. That's been the other champion he's played. I think it's Aurelia, Kassadin and Rumble, his three big champions. So two majors in there as well. LeBlanc, the last ban actually for Snake there. So again, some few more bans onto Wayless, who's looked very good from the mid lane.
Yeah, he certainly has as well. Jarvan being locked in straight away. I was going to say, I wouldn't be surprised if it is the Rumble. Of course, Acorn plays that well. And in response, straight away, Flandre locks that in.
Yeah, he's not even going to wait for his team to make his second pick. He's like, no, I'm going back to Rumble, guys. Want to take it away from Acorn, like you mentioned. In fact, both of LGD's top laners have played a lot of Rumble in their recent matches. But Jarvan, we talk about him, such a strong flex pick for LGD.
He certainly is, and does surprising well against Rumble in the early game. As Rumble starts leveling up that Flame Spitter, he does start struggling, and I like the pickup of Sivir away from him. Sivir is so important around these first, second Dragon fights, and if you get ahead, being able to chase people down can force the pace of a game. And we've talked about how strategically this game is going to play out. I think being able to force is something both teams will look to do.
And it'll be interesting from Crystal actually going with the Sivir and the Rumble for Snake's first two picks. He's played a lot of hyper carries. He's played Tristana in most of his games to great success. He's played Draven of all champions in as well. But Sivir, he's played Sivir, it's looked good, but it's not the same style that Snake want to go for. They've either played really early mid-game focused with Sivir, or they've played super late with carries like Tristana and Draven.
And wow, a little bit of maybe... I thought it was going to be a little bit of a disrespect coming away from him. Definitely a good Tristana, but even hovering that into Crystal, who has played it fantastically, is, I guess, important. Wayless taking away the Xerath from Baka, though. I think what you hit on is very important. He had a great Xerath game, and then an okay Syndra game. Didn't look the same, so getting that away from the mid laner from Snake is important.
Yeah, Baka is injured as well, by the way, but he is playing despite the injury, so he's still looked pretty good, very competent on his main champion, Xerath, and decent, as we said, on Syndra. Still has those mechanics down. Thresh, Xerath, though, you mentioned a good blocker pick, and now Snake, two more picks for them.
Yeah, and looking to maybe pick up a Morgana, probably in the support position to try and keep Crystal a little bit safer on this close range AD carry, although Xerath will be able to blow through that, and wow, a Kayle being picked up.
I think that is Kayle, yeah, that's another champion that Beast played. Looks a little too much like Pantheon, but that is Kayle if I recall correctly, and Morgana, the first two picks there for Snake, and this is a bit more of Beast's aggressive jungling that he wants to get going here.
Yeah, it certainly is, and I think it's important because it gives, there's already a couple of very good Divine Intervention targets. Morgana, of course, being able to get that Soul Shackle's full duration off in a team fight from a support position without the Zhonya's Hourglass. And I would expect maybe an Assassin to come out from Baka here, maybe even something he can dive in there with to get control over the mid lane. Imp looks like he's going for a Graves, and in a close range matchup, this will be pretty tough for him to take into a Sivir.
Yeah, I mean, Sivir, we talk about it being such a short-range carry and having some issues. Graves and Aurelia, the last two picks there for LGD, so Graves is going to come in now. It is a bit interesting. Spell Shot, I think, makes it a bit awkward, but it's sort of push versus push for two very short-range AD carries.
Yeah, it certainly is, and it's down to whether Crystal can get a good spell shield off on one of the buckshot or collateral damages. If Imp waits that one out, they just have such good trading potential. In the top lane, Acorn will probably have his way with Flandre in a 1v1. Aurelia, one of the few champions that Rumble really struggles with.
Yeah, and will be interesting to see how Flandre plays it. Again, he's played a lot of very resourceless Rumble, a lot like Acorn's Rumble, actually. He's been happy. He's been thrown into a million 1v2s, it feels like. He doesn't really have items, but he always shows up aggressively with his teleport, often with his home guards as well, and looks to make plays for his team. And that's a good last pick for Snake as well. Baka is back on Azir.
Yeah, and I like Baka's Azir, but I'm confused why people keep taking Azir into Xerath. Xerath just has such a good laning phase against Azir, can starve him off farm, and if Azir needs anything, it's really to get rolling, get those items, because once he hits that mid-game stride, does so much consistent damage.
Yeah, kind of a good Divine Intervention target though as well. I think the last time that Beast played Kale that were running a bit more of a harder carry, so not Sivir. I think something probably closer to Draven or Trist, so a little bit different flavor there as well. But Snake going to be looking to play pretty aggressively here. This is not the same, Protect the Crystal Tristana that we've seen from a lot of the previous Snake games.
Yeah, and they do need to be coordinated in these team fights. Whenever you take a Rumble into a team composition, you always have to mention he's level 6 and 11, and they don't really have much to lock people down on top of that equalizer, apart from the Emperor's Divide. So they're really going to need to be on point with their coordination in these team fights to set something up, because otherwise there's just so much backline damage that can come through from LGD.
Yeah, and again with Baka just being, seems like a very comfortable player with long-range champions. Played Syndra yesterday, obviously a big Xerath player. Now Azir, the other champion we've seen him on a couple of times. Obviously likes to stay safe, have zones, and have very safe lanes, but he could struggle here against, his own main champion, Xerath.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, it's just one of those confusing matchups why you would pick into it. I think there are a lot of champions that do deal well with Xerath. I just don't think Azir is one.
It's interesting. I just don't think Baka plays Assassins. Maybe that's what it is. He's like, I can really play LeBlanc, so I don't want to take it in. I'll take something I know a little bit better.
Yeah, that certainly might be that. But overall, I think that this team fight will be decided pretty early on, because LGD have a pretty good scrappy brawl comp themselves.
Yeah, love to fight there as well. And we are going to get into the game. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back to the Rift, ladies and gentlemen. LGD versus Snake here in their first game of the best of two. Our second match today here for day 2 of our LPL coverage. And this will be a very important one. 2 top 5 teams going head-to-head. And this, I think, if I recall correctly, might be the battle for first place if one team 2-0s.
Yeah, it certainly will be very close at that. OMG, of course, sitting up there. I think they've only split one group, one set so far. So might just be off the pace, but they're definitely close in this. Top 4 positioning is really important to be able to, in a very long season, stay comfortable in your playoff ranking.
Yeah, and I mean, if it's not first, it's going to be close up towards the top of the standings. Snake had the shot yesterday to get close, and they'll be up towards second or first again if they can 2-0 here. But again, a point between these two teams, I think 13 for LGD and 12 currently for Snake. So they're going to leapfrog each other here, especially if the result's one-sided.
Yeah, certainly. And this is another one of those games that the 2-0 becomes so important for that point that disappears towards the top of the table. Looks like standard starts will come through, but a lane swap initiated by Snake. So the response to the Aurelia being picked up into the Flandre's Rumble is to send the bottom lane top.
And we see a lot of this from Snake. They love putting Flandre in different 1v2 situations. And Sivir is kind of a weird one in a lane swap to me, Spawn. I'm kind of curious how that's going to work out as Schwen down the bottom with PYL will start off towards his Krogs moving to red. And looks like blue start there for Beast's Kale.
Yeah, it certainly looks like we'll just have some nice double jungling going through at the start. You mentioned how Sivir performs in a 2v1. She shoves very well, obviously, you know that, but does have very low base AD as well, so can freeze relatively well. Graves in the exact same position, able to just last hit Imp stack that wave nicely as Ella just bullying Acorn away.
Yeah, Acorn was kind of hiding in the top lane. Like, this definitely works out for Snake here as Ella is going to pressure Acorn back towards his own blue buff, actually. So plenty of space in the top lane. And this is pretty dangerous almost in some ways because Snake, although we are going to jungle horizontally, it looks like, Snake are actually going to leave the top side of the map fairly vulnerable.
Yeah, they certainly are. And PYL getting some good ward, a good ward down near that mid lane, making sure that keeps the bottom side of the map nice and safe for Wayless, and Imp happy to just let this lane push in. I think that this does fall into Snake's hands a little bit. I think that, of course, Aurelia does need more farm than that Rumble to get going early, and Rumble being able to pick up the early experience just puts it a little bit further in their favor. Yeah,
so a bit of that mid lane matchup as well. Wayless definitely getting the better end of this early poke trades here as it does need a bit of time to scale up. Very powerful late game mage, but going to struggle a bit in these early trades here. Now Beast and Flandre going to team up, and they're actually going to try and steal away the blue buff.
Yeah, really smart play, recognizing that they have their duo lane on the top. Ala knew that it wasn't taken because of that early ward going in there, and able to get a 3-buff start is really important for these guys.
Yeah, you can kind of see Schwen over on the other side is like, where'd the blue buff go, guys? You're not going to get it, and this is super rare for a 3-buff to happen on this patch.
Yeah, this is one of the first ones I've seen, specifically in the LPL, just because they are very good at jungling sideways and don't normally get shoved off a lane the way Acorn did. Imp has now gone into a hard push. No, actually, that's in his side of the map. Wow.
Yeah, he's just going in. Graves, I guess, just wants to start getting the push on Beast and now towards the top, looking for a tard over. Unfortunately, no one to dive here, so maybe just going to transition to their own hard push. And Snake, we saw it yesterday in their opening game against OMG. Their recent level 1s have looked superb.
Yeah, they certainly have. Flandre actually burnt the teleport to get into the bottom lane. It is only 4 minutes in, so if there's an 11-minute chain fight, it will be back up. But he's in a much better position than Acorn this early in the game.
And I can tell you, if there's somewhere for Flandre to teleport to, he'll just do it, unquestionably. He loves to burn it, be aggressive. His team's good at playing around it when it's up. And Beast actually down towards the bottom here. Pioyana going to get aggressed on Kale, doing a lot of damage early on with his double buffs. And Pioyal has to be very careful, walks all the way back towards his tier 2 turret.
And this is devastating for LGD. They're being forced off 2 waves in the top lane, whilst Flandre gets CS and experience in the bottom lane.
And we saw it yesterday, the 4-man 3-minute proxy, I think, was Snake strat against OMG yesterday. This is going to be the 4-minute 3-man proxy. So a bit of a change up, but as you mentioned, benefits Flandre massively there in the bottom.
Yeah, it certainly did. However, what it does do is starve a little bit of experience away from Crystal, gives a little bit more over to Imp. So we always talk about how much burst can come out of this Graves if he gets some levels behind him, so a lot of pressure now on Imp to turn up for his team.
Yeah, and both AD carries are looking good on the CS front here, but Imp is going to move it. Actually, we've had problems in the top side of the map. Beast is a little low here, but Imp will just continue on hanging out with Flandre. Level 5 now for Imp, so really nice work.
Yeah, it looks like Imp will be able to shove this turret in, nearly taking it down, but yeah, a lot of summoner spells burn in that top lane. There was a flash, both summoners for Crystal, and an exhaust on the side of Ella, so a good turnaround in the end. Probably through an initiate from Schwen.
Yeah, and the turret's still up for LGD crucially as well, so haven't seeded that yet. PWL and Acorn going to form their own dual lane now on the top side of the map. And Schwen will now visit in towards the mid lane. Baka actually could be in trouble. Getting knocked out there by Azir. A little low on mana. Does not have any summoners. Gets smited there. Can he go off to a soldier? No room to go. Good knock-up, actually. The shield might be enough there. It looks like he popped. No, doesn't have barrier. Just somehow survives. Hit the champion for the shield. Great play.
Yeah, exactly right. Able to get the gap closer into the champion with a nice little juke and then gets away from the Q. So in the end, really nicely played out of Baka. Has to use both summoner spells, and Wayless has both his available. So overall, good pressure coming out of Snake, but maybe a little bit of over-aggression.
Yeah, Wayless pretty low there as well. I feel like Baka was probably just trying to get some pressure and get a kill potentially, as Fabian on the top lane does get boomerang bladed there by Crystal. So he might be forced off. Looks like he'll look to recall now. And again, Acorn not having too much fun here. 4 CS to 23 for those 2 top laners.
Yeah, it certainly looks like he's in a better position. Flandre also has 2 levels as well, which will be key when it comes to these first couple of team fights. But overall, pretty equal CS in the rest of the lanes. Imp's doing very well by himself in this bottom lane. Has picked up level 6.
Yeah, and Imp is going well. And you talked about people that need to step up for LGD, or, you know, if they're giving a lot of resources to Imp, that's a great guy to give resources to. He has played fantastically in pretty much every LGD game. So no surprise to see them giving him a lot of respect and a lot of room here in the bottom lane.
Yeah, and all of the more I think about the team comms coming through, I like the fact that they went Azir because Imp is very short range. So the only person with very good zone control apart from the Equalizer is that Azir for Baka. So it's probably going to be his job to try and force Imp out of these team fights. So looking forward to that head-to-head as the first turret falls in the top lane.
Yep, Snake going to pick that one up. Crystal pushing on there. Acorn getting a bit more aggressive, trying to get some more experience for himself. That's a good hook by PWL. Schwen over the top on the beast. The Zerath ultimate gets popped also. The heal not enough there, and that's a great ultimate for Azir. Right back into the tower onto Schwen, but a good stun there for Wayless, and Schwen lives on a sliver of health. Now Baka going back and trying to get aggressive. A great play, but not enough.
Yeah, how did Schwen survive that? It was by the skin of his teeth, able to get out of there. Good turnaround from Baka. Equalizer dropped.
Of course, Flandre's here again. Just pops the Equalizer. Tried to get, I think, the snipe out onto Schwen, but he did survive there. The turret did go down to the bottom lane as well, so Imp will get that one. Flandre now going to join in the mid now, looking for a tower, and Snake are really pushing down these turrets.
Yeah, Ella looked for a flank in the middle of that, was able to get a stun down. Wayless, taking a lot of damage. But it looks like it will be equalized. So Imp was able to pick up the bottom lane turret amongst all of that. Gold is pretty much even apart from that kill that went across onto Wayless in the mid lane. And really nice, even early game coming out from these guys.
Yeah, and Snake, despite the good start, things will even up a bit. Crystal has not left this top lane, continuing to farm. Haven't spent the initial gold that he's gotten, and Imp has gone back to buy both a pickaxe and a BF sword.
Yeah, Crystal is on about 2,500 at this point. We'll be able to go back and mirror the buy coming out. And wow, Baka getting chunked out. Needs to be careful.
Blue gets stolen, though, so Snake get away with another bus steal here. Very important to give the mana hungry Azir that blue was on. Snake, another great early movement. Beast really getting it going.
Yeah, and Beast only level 4 at 9 minutes, so he is falling behind experience-wise, but did a lot for his team to ensure that Flandre was ahead. So that guy's definitely getting it going. Kale, another one of these champions that does terrifically with items, but doesn't really need them for the ultimate to come out.
Yeah, and that might be the biggest change from Snake's early game strats in general, is that Flandre has, again, been the recipient of a lot of just whatever this team wants to leave him, he gets. It's a lot of scraps that he's been picking up, but much more enabled now in this particular game, well and truly ahead of Acorn in the early game. And a Flandre that's got items and ready to go off is very scary.
Yeah, it certainly is, and I think it's more of, it wasn't a conscious decision by Snake to let it happen that way. It was just a poor response from LGD to try and repetitively force their way into that top lane instead of matching pressure in the bottom. In the end, I think Imp came out a little bit further ahead than what Snake did overall, but it was a very risky pick to play it that way.
Yeah, Crystal now back in the bottom lane with Ella as well, so we'll break back out into standard lanes now. Crystal went with the BF Sword and the Avarice Blade, so a bit greedier there for the early item build, but absolutely fine here for Sivir, who's now with the BF Sword able to crush waves really fast in this bottom turret.
Yeah, and Imp is 2 full levels ahead of Crystal in this matchup. Support's pretty much equal, so this could be pretty difficult for Crystal in the 1v1.
And crucially for Beast as well, just picked up his own blue buff, I believe. So that experience that he'd lost a little bit from the early pushing gets a lot of that back. And again, the blue buff control has been stellar so far, Snake, in his first 10 minutes.
Yeah, it certainly has. And the ward control on top of that has just been beautiful from Snake. You see that LGD are trying to wrest control of that back with a couple of nice pink wards. But overall, you have to just say that they've lit up the map in a way that's pretty cool.
Yeah, Morellonomicon's done for both mid laners now as well. So big spikes coming through for both the Xerath and the Azir. And this first fight around the Dragon's going to be really big for both these teams. Beast now going to get his red as well, looking towards a quick level 6, or quick-ish, as we approach the 11-minute mark. Not quite 6 yet, though, is Beast. He'll have to do a couple more camps or maybe attack some lanes to really get the ultimate going.
Yeah, and I think that will be the switch that they need to flick before they're willing to fight for this first dragon. Kayle won't provide much without that ultimate coming through. Is going, for those that want to, I guess, replicate this build at home, for the AP item with that 20% CDR, just looking to ensure that that E is up as much as possible, and of course, the more ultimates you can throw out, the better.
Yeah, Mega is probably the most unexplored of the jungle enchants, but very strong on AP-based junglers, and Kayle no exception there. Acorn in the top lane finally picking up a bit of CS. He got himself a Sheen to help with last hitting, plus a Ruby Crystal as well and a couple wards. So a little low maintenance right now for Acorn, but he'll definitely get going on this Aurelia as he picks up more CS. Flandre as well does have his TP back, and he's got a very quick Sock Shoes, actually.
Yeah, so looking for that early pen and the ability to get away from these ganks, I suppose, because his lane is the longest lane at the moment. He is being forced to farm in unsafe territory. Actually looks like he might even be ganked now. Does get pinged back. Talking about the jungle item, the AP1 is the most gold effective. So if you look at it, definitely you get more bang for your buck if you take that one into there.
Imp, got to be careful. POL almost gets burned up. Good lantern there, and Flandre actually had teleported down to the bottom lane, snuck his way onto a ward, but can't convert the kill.
Yeah, that guy's a ninja, and it means that they've started up the dragon straight away. As soon as they got that level 6 out of their jungler, they just wanted to fight.
And a very creative teleport that actually looks like in the back. LGD coming in as well. The dragon getting low here. Can they get it down? First Jarvan going to come in. Does get the steal onto that dragon. And now Xuen going to dive in on top. It does go down. That's a Crystal. Beast a little low as well, getting poked out by the Xerath. But everyone will back off there. So one kill for a dragon. Well worth it for LGD on main. Never mind. Wayless going to get chased down. The binding will miss, though, and that's only the first kill.
Yeah, and then force them away from the mid lane where the turret is still up. So this means Snake, whilst losing the dragon, might be able to pick something up for their trouble. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, there's no objective there for LGD to take. Looks like, in the end, they will just be able to even it up and rotate around. But that was a lot of ultimates used just to take out the jungler.
Yeah, and a little awkward there. Beast been very clutch on most of his smites in those situations, but couldn't quite get that first dragon. That gets stolen away by Xuen there from LGD. Imp down the bottom as well. Building a CS lead now as well in this. Sivir just casually slow pushing his wave into the bottom turret.
Yeah, just looking to, I guess, make sure it's trimmed as far as possible before it gets in there. The bigger the wave is, the longer it will take for Sivir to deal with it, although cleans out waves nicely. And I like that mention of how clutch Beast has been on these smites. Shows that Xuen timed that one very well, and there was a lot of inherent pressure coming through from the LGD lineup to fight that fight.
Beast going to clear out the Raptor camp for himself, get a bit more gold and experience. Kind of looking through as well. No other major items being finished yet, but gold is building up now. And the gold lead very even here in this particular game. Of course, LGD up a dragon after that steal. Flandre has apparently found a new home in the mid lane, though. He's continuing to push waves in with his flame spitter.
Yeah, it's because of that freeze that came through from Acorn. Has just left the lane exactly where he wants it to be, in the top. As we mentioned, no big items being picked up. Infinity Edge picked up for Imp, so he's rushed that one straight away. Want to see whether he goes with the Youmu's or with the Static Shiv that we've been seeing a little bit more. Of course, Youmu's adds a lot of surprising burst through that armor penetration it adds.
Yeah, we see the mid tower did get taken out there by Snake as well. So a lot of space open on the bottom section of the map here towards that dragon area for Snake. So got a bit more room to maneuver there as well. Flandre still rocking low on the items here, but level 9 on Rumble, not too bad. Actually, almost level 10, so getting closer and closer to that crucial level 11 for that second dragon fight.
Yeah, certainly is. Acorn has caught up in gold, however, whilst this is all going on. As we mentioned, he's had the perfect freeze for so long, and I was about to say, without dropping an equalizer, that won't be pushed into the turret. Is able to do it, so now pressure on Acorn to try and pull this minion wave back as far as he can.
Baka in trouble, actually. It seems like Flandre going in onto Acorn, wants to get aggressive. Can't quite follow up with the tower dive though, and Acorn will be safe for now, but Flandre really trying to put his carry pants on, I think.
Yeah, he certainly is, and he realized that it wasn't going to hit the turret, so in the end just goes in deep as Schwen steals away a buff.
Yeah, Imp actually goes in there. The buff does go again to Jarvan this time, so LGD will finally get themselves a blue buff. It's actually Snake's blue buff to the jungler that goes in here as Wayless will push into the turret as well. Had a bit of a scuffle for that buff as well. Baka got very low, but saved by Beast's ultimate there. And now we'll look for a little reset here. LGD going to answer in kind for the mid turret. No, Ella and Crystal here to defend.
Yeah, and the pushing power that comes out of Sivir at this point in the game is probably unrivaled from AD carries. We're seeing Graves on the other side. He's probably the only one that can deal with it the way that Sivir can at this point. So Crystal just looking to shove back while Azir was shopping. And overall, LGD have done a great job of equalizing this game from what looked to be a start that was dictated to them.
Yeah, and this is a kind of a common theme from yesterday's Game 1 versus OMG as well. Snake got off to a fantastic early game. About the first 10-15 minutes looked great, and then as we moved into the mid-game, just a little less consistent, a little less clean from Snake, but they closed out the game well. So if that continues here, then we'll see again another win. But Crystal had Tristana in that game. Now he has Sivir.
Yeah, and whilst he has picked up that kill, is 20 CS behind, so pretty much equal on gold with Imp, maybe a couple up at this point, but early Zerka Greaves coming out on Graves. I don't really know if that pickup is as good as it can be on Graves. He does much better with flat stats as opposed to attack speed. Maybe looking to maneuver his way away from this Azir in these team fights.
These are long lanes as well. I think there's a lot of pushing going on, so maybe Imp realizes to be in empty lanes he needs to be a bit quicker as Flandre almost gets himself hooked there by PYL, but will remain safer. And again, just cleaning out wards, has picked himself up a Haunting Guys now as well. So again, has the 2 penetration items ready to go for this next Dragon fight. It's up in a minute 35.
Yeah, it's definitely getting closer, and Acorn, in response to that, has started to shove out the top lane, trying to put some pressure on the map through that minion wave. Flandre mirroring that, but has now jumped ahead in CS. So anyone looking to play Aurelia, that is exactly how you do it. Freeze in favorable areas, make sure that you're not bleeding out objectives, fight when you need to fight, but just farm up a storm.
Yeah, and given the start that Acorn had, which was horrible to kick off the first few minutes of this game, caught up very nicely. The Trinity Force might even be ready for this next Dragon fight, and that's, again, a minute away, so not too far as PYL can look to get some vision for his team now as well. Infinity Edge was also completed by Crystal, along with some Berserker Greaves, so Power Spikes are coming through now as we team up for, again, the next major objective.
Yeah, and this time, onus really is on Snake to pick this one up. The steal away from Schwen last time just meant that this Flandre Rumble isn't going to do as much, and very, very smartly, LGD looking for a pick before the fight even begins. Don't want to deal with that Rumble equalizer.
Yeah, Flandre not level 11 either, but he is walking back down now. So does have his teleport, he has to get in immediately. Schwen actually takes a lot of damage there. The Gromp will be defended there and go over to Snake, and PYL and Schwen will continue to try and get some vision. Not a whole lot of vision going on around the pit right now, so both teams probably going to look to set up those wards. A Beast and Baka going to really hard push to tier 2 in mid.
Yeah, so hard to push into his Xerath, however. That damage coming through, just cleaning out the minions. Flandre didn't choose to use his teleport to get in anywhere this time around. And the flank coming through from Imp, potentially.
We'll have to see. The Sun Turret did go up, so LGD going to get a bit more forward vision. Actually, he's on top of all. Imp has to be very careful as the rest of Snake are going to move in. Good pink ward clearing there by Baka's Azir as well. Azir is so good at clearing out those wards. When the Sun Turret goes down, Snake bought themselves a bit of time, and they're onto their second dragon.
Yeah, Acorn once again teleporting behind. They might look to fight this.
They're going to go in. Are they going to opt in for another 50-50 smite? Schwen dives in again, but they're actually going to start the team fight. Imp actually on top of Crystal. Acorn's there as well for that first kill, but Baka will chase in now. That's a decent equalizer to try and trace out, but the dragon goes to LGD, and Acorn might get away. He gets smited there by Beast. Slowed down there by the Q as well, and Baka chasing him for the damage. Wayless off to the side now. He's going to stun up that kill. Almost going to get that kill. Baka though as well. Ella gets taken up by Wayless. Schwen over the top dives in with the Cataclysm, and Flandre now does get the Black Shield onto it, but that's a good double kill coming up for Xerath. Another stun time perfectly, and that's a full wipe there for LGD.
Wow, that team fight went horrible for Snake. They chose to chase the really tanky Aurelia at this point in the game with all that added tenacity instead of going for the dragon. Equalizer missed everyone. Everything went wrong, and in the end, LGD clean house.
Yeah, they get a third turret here as well, taking out the tier 2 in the bottom lane, which is a big win for them. The second dragon now basically stolen away by Schwen, which is just insane. And I don't know if Snake, they felt like scared to go into another 50-50, but I think you just commit to the dragon and then have the team fight.
Yeah, I think they're scared of the Schwen Xerath combo that's coming out of Wayless, because if you can get a nice Cataclysm over the top, you can just set up that little nice hoop for Xerath to start dunking people, and that happened again, and this game all of a sudden has just blown out in favor of LGD.
Yeah, and they're off to a pretty decent lead now, so almost at 3,000 gold ahead, but with two dragons. One of them stolen away, let's be frank there, from Snake there as well. So looking good so far. Empowering up as well. Got himself a Brutalizer and a pickaxe. Wayless doing really well, actually. Almost got a Rabadon's completed at 301 with his Morellonomicon, and the Trinity Forces done for Acorn as well.
Yeah, so they're in a terrific spot at this point of the game. The armor shred build that's coming out of Imp means that they're trying to look to finish early as Acorn gets a little bit aggressive in the bottom lane.
Yeah, Crystal does get aggressive on Acorn. They're going to dive back in. Good use of the ulti. Imp on the side. There's an amazing ultimate coming through, and the damage is more than enough. Now Ella, there's nowhere to go. Will likely get another kill to Graves. Acorn, though, might take it instead. PYL's like, hey, give me the kill. But Acorn will look to take it. And POL's forced to take it instead.
Yeah, not able to pick up that one. Support player takes it away. All in all, 3 assists, so that's still very, very nice work for LGD. And now that they've opened up the map, their movements just look better than Snake's at this point in the game.
Yeah, we talk about it. LGD when they're ahead. POL shot calling just makes them look so strong. That's an amazing hook on the beast of the box. Not going to get him through. The intervention does not save him from the Xerath ultimate, and there's another kill for LGD. 9-2 now.
Yeah, and support Graves coming through. 107 for him. Just can't get a kill for himself, but with that much CS, not going to be complaining. Wayless now 4-0-1. We'll be able to go back and pick up that death cap, and he's looking terrific on Xerath.
Yeah, Baka just dodging that stun there as well. Trying to clear things out with these sand soldiers underneath the turret. Crystal will join him as well. Almost got a static shift done up, so that's going to make a big difference to the wave clear here of Snake. But we've talked about Snake when they're behind. They like to keep fighting. They'll keep in it, but they just never seem that they can close out a game when they're falling behind, especially in a lead with a lead like this against this team.
Yeah, and they're running a no-tank lineup, which just means that they're so unforgiving. We haven't touched on it yet, but running a Rumble top and a Kayle jungle just means that you're not going to have the durability of, say, an Aurelia and a Jarvan. So the longer this game gets, the harder, unfortunately, it's going to be for Snake to get any advantage out of it.
Yeah, we'll see Snake just kind of forced up against their base turrets now. Baka with a decent amount of CS. Crystal actually in trouble in the bottom lane. Imp just going to run in. That's a great smoke screen. They're on the hunt. Probably not enough. Imp going to look for the ultimate. Finds it there and just takes out Crystal 1v1.
Yeah, the solo kill coming through. And once again, we mentioned how important the spell shield is in that. Imp has the answer. Just on-point smoke screen time and time again, able to burst him down.
Yeah, I mean, just keep autoing right if you're in range. It doesn't really matter. Not even the Sivir ultimate could save Crystal there. And Snake looking very scattered in this first game. And LGD looking again, when they're ahead and aggressive, everything looks good.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it's going in their favor. I guess the saving glory for Snake is the fact that Rumble has now picked up another item. Wow.
Baka, good dodge. Not enough though. Acorn finds him and gets the kill.
Yeah, Wayless has become absolutely massive. I don't even know if there is a saving grace at this point. I guess that Rumble is building himself up into that Zonya's Hourglass, but with how quickly this game is falling apart, it looks like Snake might not have some answers.
Oh, Beast going to get dropped there as well. The ultimate, not quite enough. Black Shield in there as well, but Schwen just dunks him with the Cataclysm, and now Ella in trouble as POL going to grab him up, and there's a double for the jungler. Now Flandre coming in, look at a 1v4. Pops his ulti, gets played back, and PYL gets the kill.
Yeah, looks like they will be able to maybe trade a couple here, however.
Acorn going in, does that a crystal. That's actually a triple, I think, coming out for Severe. So lots of gold coming through there for that 80 carry, but we're going to need that mistake to happen a couple more times. And LGD, little too aggressive.
Yeah, they just went a little bit ham there. That's okay. They're still 6,000 gold up. They got exactly what they came for, a lot of map pressure. Imp was able to come through and push in that top lane at the same time. So they're going to pick up another turret for themselves. And overall, even though they maybe went a little bit too aggressive, they're still coming out ahead in these.
Yeah, Imp now in the top side takes it, I think. No, with an actual turret this time, not a sun turret. So LGD looking good there on their turrets as well. Have 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's really hard to count turrets when Azir's on the map. And Baka now going to clean out the top side of the map as well. If there is anything going here for Snake, it might be the Azir getting to late game. But the way LGD play when they're ahead, with the team comp they have with this lead, it's very hard for Snake to win.
Yeah, and the problem is there's just too many answers to Azir in this. They're able to, I guess, re-engage. They have long-range poke coming through. At the end of the day, at this point, Imp could probably just shoot him over the wall with a couple of spells and kill him outright. I really think they need to get a favorable dive with Flandre nailing an equalizer for anything to happen.
Well, LGD definitely bit off a little too much in that mid lane before, so if that keeps happening, then Snake can capitalize on those mistakes and get themselves back into this game. But right now, it'll take a couple more mistakes like that for LGD to really start to fall truly behind. And they're going to get their third straight dragon with Snake still having 0.
Yeah, and it's only 25 minutes in the game pastry time, so these dragons stacking up very quickly. About 34 minutes through, they will be looking to take that 5th one. So they're sitting in the driver's seat at the moment. There's not much Snake can really do but hope for a mistake.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, we've seen that Snake love to fight even when behind. They'll just go in and force the best engages they can with the tools they have. The problem is, you fall behind enough, your tools just aren't very good for the job. So we'll see what Snake can get done here, but LGD have very rarely, in fact, if ever so far in the LPL, relinquished a lead that has been this strong.
Yeah, Snake definitely are more of a sledgehammer type team. They do look to get in there and take teams out by brute force, and looks like this time LGD just able to move around. They're not forcing anything at all, so you got to say that they're playing in a way that doesn't really afford mistakes.
And that's LGD when they're ahead. They love to play tutorial style. Whaler's going to get the blue buff there as well. Baka will get his own there as well. But again, it'll take quite a bit of turtling. Azir's a pretty good champion. I think I jokingly called her the new Anivia yesterday because she can stall out games. But it'll take a lot of stalling here for Snake.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, they have a terrific stall comp. They have, of course, the intervention that can come through that just deters turret dive so much. They've got the equalizer they can throw out as well as all the wave clear out of Azir and Siva. So they can definitely stall, but there's just a lot going right for LGD at this point. Imp going to go back, pick himself up some more items.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Imp is getting massive here in this game. Ghostblade, IE, and Last Whisper now all done, as well as Boots 2 there for the Berserker Groove. So Imp, 257 CS at 207, looking monstrous again here in an LGD game. And Baron is now on the menu as well, so Snake have even more problems to consider.
Yeah, so we mentioned that with how much pressure Snake tried to put on Imp to get him in a position to carry, definitely has shown up big for his team. So props to that guy on Graves. Playing the matchup very nicely, and wow, a Haunting Guy's actually coming out from Wayless, so he's looking to just get some flat penetration through and hit his stride right now. They want to end this game pretty quickly. Yeah,
Wayless has looked so good on this Xerath. 4-0-4 there on that champion with those 3 big items done, Relinomical and the Haunting Guys, and of course the big Rabadon's Death Cap to go with those Sork Shoes. So looking good here for LG. They just have to pick a plan, but again, they've played very safe and very standard when closing out games, and they've done it very cleanly every time. So Snake, they will fight back here a little bit. Baron is a potential here if they can sneak it away. That happened to Snake yesterday against OMG. I don't think that'll happen here again. They actually are going to start to clear a bit. No, Crystal though. Oh, Imp almost gets the kill though, forcing out all of the summoner spells, or at least the heal.
Yeah, it certainly did. Forced out the ultimate more importantly as well, which means engaging on them just becomes even easier as well. Baka going very aggressive.
Yeah, setting up a turret as well. I mean, maybe Snake are really trying to cheese a Baron at this point. They're getting a vision at least, which will help them here in this point of the game. They do not want to lose that Baron if they can help it. That's maybe one of the ways they can get back into this game. Sun turret does fall down. The LGD are going to start their push up here. And they've potted around for a couple minutes, but they really have so much control in this game.
Yeah, they have a lot of control, but the turret diving is nearly becoming not an option. The Zhonya's Hourglass nearly finished up on the support Morgana at this point as well, so that's even more anti-dive. They really need to force objectives out in the open, which is why they're trying to clear out this Baron area. They will put even more focus on Dragon now, and they've started it up.
Yeah, good sideway from Snake in the top side of the map, though, as Baron now did get started by LGD. Snake don't have enough vision here. So many pink wards around the area for LGD. And they could dive in here, but it's well and truly under 50% health, and LGD just going to steal with this Baron Snake, not interested or unaware that they can contest.
Yeah, just don't want anything to do with it. They definitely knew what was going on from that shrine. However, just nothing that they can do. They're too far behind at this point. They need to bleed a couple of objectives, but won't be able to, I guess. They need to keep stalling. This game needs to go for 50 minutes.
Yeah, and that's the theme for Snake's comp at this point in the game. They've just fallen a little too far behind. That's a massive gold lead for LGD of 9K or 8,500, 5-2 in turrets, although some of those are Azir turrets, I think, as well. But other than that, just big item spikes across the board. A really solid team comp here for LGD. Snake, you're just going to have to chill out a bit and keep farming. 3 items over Crystal. Things are starting to look up.
Yeah, they definitely are hitting some very important spikes. The death cap coming through from Baka is another one that we have to mention. Soon the Zhonya's will be finished up for Flandre as well, but they're just at this point where they're hitting strides, and if this was a normal game, you'd be like, okay, now they can start fighting. But you just look at the other side and, wow, now that the Void stuff has been finished up by Wayless, he's just going to absolutely melt backlines.
Yeah, Snake can't even feel like they can contest for this turret, actually. That standing goal for the Tier 3 not going to get up here as Imp and Acorn are in the top lane just shredding through the Tier 2 turret. That goes down almost instantly, and now Baka getting programmed. That was absurd. And here come the ultimates. Baka, can he dodge them? Does dodge the last two. Almost dies to the third bolt. Good dancing. Oh, Wayless tried so hard for that last kill.
Yeah, he did not want to give up on that one. In the end, actually burns a flash. Trades it for a heal, though, so nicely played.
Yeah, it looks like a teleport coming in. Really creative stuff from Acorn. They need to get Siege. That's maybe the one issue with LGD's comp. So with the Baron buff, they're going to try and force down as many turrets as they possibly can.
Yeah, they definitely have Siege. They just don't have great turret taking possibility coming through. Of course, Xerath can poke people out, but if no one can walk up and hit that turret, it is going to be difficult. And the danger with playing Graves is that if Azir gets a miracle Emperor's Divide in there, he's just going to be cut off from the rest of his team.
You'll have to see here as LGD do try and take more of the jungle away here from Snake. Crystal back here, getting that farm going. Kept pace up with Imp here for 3-0 for him. Not quite the same deathless score that Imp has, but Crystal definitely going here. I mean, if this was a late game carry for Crystal, we'd talk about, okay, this is the perfect jumping platform for Crystal's carry, but he's got Sivir again. Just does start to taper off now at this point, but I guess Graves maybe does as well. Yeah,
definitely, and it's not because of their lack of steroids or anything like that. Both have very, very good auto attack modifiers through their E and their W respectively. It's more because of their range, and we're going to see the issue with AD carries played into mid-champions like Xerath, like an Azir.
Yeah, Baka though in trouble. The ultimate not enough there. Wayless gets an easy kill. Oh, Schwen does get trolled by the wall, but they'll just take the blue buff. Wayless just picking up kills and buffs left, right, and center.
Yeah, and wow, that just happened so quickly. Schwen able to find another pick coming through. They'll pick up their 4th dragon of the game, I believe. And LGD have just gone from strength to strength to strength. Maybe a little bit of a rocky start, but after that, you have to say they've played phenomenally throughout this mid-late game.
Yeah, they've just powered through. They knew their team respected their win conditions and have just gone off in the mid-game here to the tune of 10,000 gold ahead at 32 minutes. Imp is unbelievably massive. Leandre's just got completed there for Wayless as well. Acorn, interestingly, doesn't really have items, but I don't think he cares.
Yeah, I really don't think he minds that much. He's sitting on about 1,000 gold, so we'll be able to go back and maybe finish up that Warden's Mail, going for a Frozen Heart most likely through there. But Snake still looking for a pick.
Yeah, Crystal going to pop the ulti. This could be bad news for Acorn. Doesn't have his teleport either. And now Beast is coming in. This is 4 people committing. Baka trying to defend down towards the bottom. Acorn likely going to go down here. Who's going to get credit for that kill? It looks like it will be Ella, actually. Thought it might be Crystal, but Morgana picks it up. Baka, though, has so much to defend here on his own.
Yeah, trying to just shove 4 people off a turret, although they will back away now. So overall, successful pick. Not much gained from LGD.
Yeah, the stalling birds continue here in League of Legends. Baka defending nicely against 2 different pushes there in the bottom mid, and Snake now might look to go through, but Ella just gets chunked out by the Xerath.
Yeah, and they need to be careful chasing into Xerath because he can just kite back all day and does so much damage.
Yeah, they're going to look again, but no ultimate there for Crystal. Makes initiating kind of tricky. Baka going to set up a turret here and try and contain LGD for a little bit. But honestly, these turrets, even then, Snake. Ella almost dies. Oh my god, Imp's ultimate does pick up the kill under Morgana.
And that is just ridiculous damage coming out of Xerath at this part of their game. Just able to wipe a member off the map. Did actually have Zhonya's, but just was not expecting the burst.
Yeah, Ella has completed the item that's important to note if they do want to get aggressive. Crystal forced the flash out of the ultimate there by Schwen. so we'll be safe for now. But the hook does land onto Flandre. He is unbelievably dead. Does pop this on his flashes out. Wayless, though, actually needs to keep chasing. Does get the Q, though. And he'll be able to pick up that kill. Hook almost landing there as well, but 2 members dead for Snake. LGD just going to push into the base. Acorn's found Baka as well, and Baka getting chunked out. Transcendent Blades will get popped in here. Baka's got nowhere left to go. No flash. Does have his heal. Oh, good EQ out though. Acorn cannot follow yet, but he's going to keep running through. Aurelia very speedy. The heal comes through. Baka trying so hard, but Wayless is going to scoop this up. No, can't quite do it. Ella here as well. That's almost enough. The Black Shield goes in. Xuen now around the side as well. Smites him for the kill. And now Beast forced to flash out of a stun.
Yeah, really nice moves there to pick up that kill. It was a little bit of Benny Hill music running around in the background as Imp relentlessly split pushing in this top lane. Actually decides to back off exactly as when I said that as well.
Well, I mean, you know, the rest of Snake did swing around. Imp actually might find a solo kill here. I think he has spotted Ella. Beast around though as well. Doesn't quite have his ultimate back. Imp playing very dangerously here against pretty much the entire Snake lineup, but he'll just back off here, almost acting as a human ward moving between the buffs. The Baron will get warded as well by Snake. That's back up in a minute. And again, we talked about them having to stall. They are stalling, but I don't know how much more time they need before this evens out.
Yeah, this just is getting very bad, especially when you look at how expensive some of the item bills coming through from LGD is, so they're not going to catch up in those items anytime soon. Rumble particularly has just fallen so far behind of what Aurelia now brings to these team fights. So a lot of work to be done by Snake. Probably the impossible task, but if any team can do it, it's one that contains an Azir and a Rumble.
Yeah, and Baka's going to have to dig really deep in this game. He's farming up though as well. Hasn't quite finished up his Void stuff, which looks like the next item. Just the blasting one there for components. Flandre, though, looking for level 16. Once they get the level 3 ultimate going, he'll push out some side waves as well. Snake's side wave control's also been quite good. The top lane especially has been constantly crashing in. So they're buying time here. Even again, putting up Azir turrets, annoying your opponents, just buying more time. That's the whole theme for Snake at this point. But crucially, still spawn. They're missing a first dragon.
Yeah, they certainly are, and that flat damage coming through will just provide so much, especially when you look at the build that Crystal's gone. Just no heat for defensive items when you're behind. Straight up flat AD, and looks like they want to actually fight for this Baron.
Yeah, Baron's back up there. POL will look for a hook, doesn't quite find it. Ella does not get poked out this time. But Baka just trying to zone them out as well. Imp will actually pop a smoke screen there. He's done a lot of flanking on this Graves, actually.
Yeah, he certainly had. He's looking just to get a lot of burst damage down up front and allow Azir to set up for some long-range kills. It's just providing a lot of pressure for his team. And once again, Xuen cleans out the Dragon Pit. They're looking to rotate around, create a pick.
Yeah, it's so dangerous here for Baka to be anywhere near the team. EQ's out though. Beast will get grabbed, has to dodge more. Zerath Bolt does have Azonius, but doesn't need to use it. Never mind, doesn't have that at all. Flandre forced to defensively use the equalizer, but Baka chunked out. He can't go anywhere. Beast going to go in onto Acorn though, who's so low. As Crystal popped in there with the ulti as well. Now Xuen gets bound immediately after EQing a POL. Finds Flandre. Good zonies there coming out, but the box will go up as well. Flandre gets played back in, and he's absolutely dead as Wayless gets yet another kill.
Yeah.
Oh, Beast. The double coming out. The tower going to maybe sustain it for a bit. Xuen getting aggressive there. Wayless poking out Crystal. And Baka just kiting back as much as he can. But he's got nowhere fun to run. Acorn's going to chase him down as well. Azir can make the great escape once again. Xuen going in. Looks like they do get the kill. Good smite plus 5 control. Crystal goes down to Imp, who's diving into the base. And Ella, you might be able to get up, but I don't think Imp really cares about your towers. Oh, good Zonius. And smokescreen, not enough. Ella survived for now. Imp is stuck well and truly behind enemy lines, but Wayless snipes yet another kill, and that's an ace.
Clean ace. That will probably be the game coming through from LGD. A lot of sloppy play coming out at the end of this game. They're actually backing away, so respecting the short cooldown of that respawn timer. 40 minutes into the game. That fight went for a very long time. We'll probably rotate around and pick up this Baron, cleaning out wards on the way, but they're just so far ahead at this point. You see how confident they're playing.
Yeah, and you can tell there's just a ton of scrappy fights going on. LGD are more than happy to take little brawls on skirmishes. They feel confident in every role here. This Baron is getting melted to pieces by LGD. As Graves will, take it away. Don't need for the smite there. Xuen actually not even on cooldown.
Yeah, and so greedy. They're looking like they actually are going to force Snake off the dragon as well. So poor Snake can't get anything on this map at the moment. Just fantastic control. This is a complete shutout now.
Yeah, Beast doesn't even have flash. He can't attempt to steal, and he would love to if he could. But 5 dragons done now for LGD. And Snake, we mentioned that LGD love to strangle you with options. Snake have very few left in this game.
Yeah, I don't think they have options at this point. They are dealing with an absolutely massive lineup. across the board, everyone is just so fed on LGD's side. They've got a 20,000 gold lead, and they're starting to really finish some nice builds.
Yeah, taking out a lot of turrets as well. The Azir turrets, of course, adding to that scores. Crystal up in the top lane, trying to pick up empty lane farm where he can. He's 270 CS or so in this one here with 4 major damage items complete. Looks like a Banshee's Veil might be his next item, possibly a GA there as well for his defensive item. Never mind, it's a QSS. Wrong both times. And that'll help, but Snake, again, they need to keep turtling. Azir's building up. Not even the Void stuff done yet for Baka. And Imp is just, Imp and LGD, excuse me, are just streets ahead in this particular game. Mercurial Scimitar now finished up. Ryla's done for Xerath as well. Just an embarrassment of riches in terms of inventory.
Wow, that damage coming out of Xerath at this point.
Yeah, Chuen going to dive in now, so PWL does get bound up. Beast going to move his way out with a Silver Ultimate helping him as well, but Chuen is chasing him out. Ella's now in trouble. Flandre actually pops the Equalizer in. Imps around the side. Flandre gets eaten alive there by all the damage from Wayless, and Acorn is diving in. Ella's down as well. That's 4 kills. Baka all the way back in base. No way he can defend, and LGD are going to just steamroll through the rest of the base and take the game.
Yeah, and you can tell that they had a good time in that last team fight. Imp just providing so much upfront damage. Really well played from LGD, and they'll take the first game pretty comfortably.
And we talked about what styles are we going to see here from these teams. LGD played their game, and it looked impeccable from about 20 minutes onwards. Little rocky at the start, potentially, but didn't matter though. LGD in classic aggressive LGD style. Once they get a lead, they never let go.
Yeah, certainly, and good force from Snake at the start of that game to even put a game on that much of an even turn with a terrific LGD lineup that looks like they're really rolling. In the end, however, Wayless in the mid lane, way too much. Imp, way too much, and really nice movements around the map.
Yeah, when we talk about, strategic diversity for these two teams, Snake just haven't gotten to a point yet where they've found a style that really suits them. They seem to like late game a lot, but they've played early game as well. They haven't quite settled in. LGD, all they want to do is get aggressive.
Yeah, and they just look, LGD are all about getting a little bit of an advantage and then really pushing it step by step. They're very methodical, take it slow. And I think we have a replay of the second last team fight, and this just shows that when they're ahead, how aggressive they're willing to get. So if we roll this one through, they're setting up around the Baron. They're looking to get a pick in. Unfortunately, Baka just goes way too deep. He gets caught out, and whilst he's able to survive, this is an uneven team fight from this point on. In the mid lane, Acorn teleported in, got caught out a little bit, 4 members on him, but he's just that tanky that he's able to survive, and the complete turnaround comes through. Chuen dives into the team. Flandre would have got hooked, has to Zhonya's to not die, and the burst that can just come through on the back line, able to take out Flandre, able to take out Beast, and from there it was just a complete rollover. This team fight continues to go because things get a little bit crazy, but that just shows how much they love to fight at this point.
I think if we were giving out MVPs, it would probably go to Wayless. He played an unbelievable Xerath game in that particular one. And we've seen again Baka when he doesn't have that champion that he loves so much as Imp. This was hilarious. A great zone for Ella to dodge the last buckshot, but Wayless going to get the snipe here. And see you later.
Yeah, it was able to pick up the clean ace there. And I agree with you. Wayless was able to really take it to Baka. And I think that a lot of credit also has to be given to Chuen to shut Beast out of this game. We mentioned the no-tank lineup that they had to get ahead early. They were able to do it to a certain point, but then Chuen really puts the clamps down, especially with the first Dragon Steel.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of really strong games from them as well. It seems when either jungler goes off for this team, getting them ahead because they love to fight and get aggressive when they're ahead. It's a lot about junglers, so maybe the next match we'll have to see. And Baka played great on Syndra and Azir, arguably, but it's just not the Xerath.
Yeah, it's just he seems to have a different level on that champion.
Yeah, we'll have to see, guys. Game 2 is going to be